Right, good evening. Welcome to an impromptu Sunday night. Is it Sunday night? It's bank holiday weekend. Yes, it's Sunday night here, and we're going to talk about the Golf Sixes that's just happened. I've got my Twitter feed in front of me. We got the chat running here as well. So we're going to talk Golf Sixes. What were your ideas around the event? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it brilliant? What do you think it holds? For the game, and if it does anything at all, would be interested in your thoughts. There's a lot of interesting theories floating around. Be interesting to see. I've put it out on Twitter what you think. So if you're on my Twitter feed at Full Golf Online, you can have a say there, or obviously get in the chat as well. We've got Wilson golfing first. What's up, Brad? Jesse, Jeffries, Hayborough, Scott. So people are joining. Hello, welcome. Golf Sixes, we are talking. Should be fun. Let us know what you think. Right, so the Golf Sixes has just happened, and to be honest with you, I haven't really been following it that much. It's a bank holiday weekend, so it's I'm busy with the family, those kind of things. But I've been kind of trying to follow it a little bit online. Ireland and France set for Golf Sixes final. So obviously we've got the final happening, or has it happened? Yeah, the Ireland one, didn't they? Sorry. Ireland won the Golf Sixes. I'm reading it on the Ireland Storm to Golf Sixes glory. So first ideas, what did you think of the format? I wasn't really paying attention that much to the format, but obviously lots of people talk about wanting it to be shorter rounds, 6 holes ideas. What were your thoughts on that? Let me know, post in the comments. I'm kind of someone really who's not really looking for a different format in golf personally. I understand the ideas of why you might want a different format, shorter one, those kind of ideas. Neffin in the chat here says like it because it is different. I'm from America and I watched it last night. It was good, bit odd, didn't really get it. Bobby Todd. Loving the floss earlier from Mark Walker. Thank you. Evening, bro. Really didn't like it. Alex 573573. Alt Golf. Mark, do you think that trying to make golf cool is not making it cool? It felt a bit like a village fete. Sergio Perez, it's a gimmick. I watched both days. The interaction from the kids is great. They really want them to get involved and excited about it. Stuart. So obviously, I mean, a few points about. Well, we'll talk about that as we get going. But so for instance, my boy plays football. Okay, he plays shorter games than full games. I think I'm not a massive football fan. He plays 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, so yeah, 80-minute games actually on a smaller pitch. Smaller pitch, 80-minute games. It's 90-minute games. Only 10 minutes smaller than a full length game if they were playing adult football. He trains for an hour and a half and 2 hours in the week, and he doesn't want it to end. When a young person enjoys doing an activity, they don't want it to be shorter. So the idea of making it shorter to attract younger people, I think, is an odd one. It's just I don't get that. Obviously, there might be people who don't play because it takes too long, but then get golf like trying to attract someone who wants to play but or doesn't want to play because the game takes too long is maybe not the right person to be attracting. Possibly the longevity of that, because my biggest issue with the Golf Sixes, which I don't quite understand, is that what they are portraying in Golf Sixes, so the different format, and we'll talk about the women's tour and the men's tour in this as well, so you can start post comments in on that bit also. We'll talk about that in a second. The cheering, the engagement with the kids, the presenters, the way it's kind of packaged. You could sell golf to people that way, but surely it's a really bad sale, isn't it? It's like me selling you Twist Face and telling you you're going to hit every fairway now. Or it's like me selling you Titleist D2 and saying you're now going to hit the ball longer than you've ever hit it. It's just not true. Golf isn't like that. So you can get people engaged in the game possibly that way, but then when they join a club, they're going to be pretty shocked if they think that's what golf is, because they're going to find out pretty quick that lots of clubs still, juniors aren't really welcome. There's still issues with men and women in golf clubs. There's still very segmented sections from seniors to women's to men's and competitions. It's not the all-inclusive phone waving fingers kind of environment that maybe the Golf Sixes is selling, possibly the idea of. So I think there's a slight contradiction in some of that. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. We're going to delve into Twitter. Let's see what people have fun. Paul on Twitter says, good fun event and nice that the women play alongside the men, so the spectators to get to see both. Paul, we'll talk about that in a second. I kind of really agree with that. What is it, Jamie? Prefer the 18-hole banter format. Didn't see any crap golf when I watched it. It may not have been the best players in the world, but thought the standard was very good. Everyone who plays European Tour and ladies European Tour, they're not bad players. They're all very good players. The kind of top, very small amount of players obviously are the best that you see, but you can go a long way down on both of those tours, and there are a lot of very talented players out there. Glad someone enjoyed it. I turned it off after an hour, me, on Twitter. And then someone talking about my floss there earlier. Surely bringing new eyes to the game isn't a bad thing, Harry T. Now, think about that comment, Harry. Where does that comment come from? How many new subscribers to the locked platform of Sky were paying to watch that event? So I wouldn't say that TV particularly brought any new eyes, I would argue. Don't know the stats, hopefully they did. But it's a paid for locked platform. Kids aren't going, oh daddy, can we have a subscription to Sky this weekend because I want to watch the Golf Sixes, I'm guessing. What about the kids turning up and watching? Obviously that's great, and let's hope there are loads of new eyes and some people really inspired to play golf in there, which is definitely a possibility. But in the realms of how many people are going to watch, to how much money that event A generates for the players and B generates or takes to put on, could we not argue that money could be spent in a slightly different way? I mean, how many people went to view that event? Post in the comments, how many people do you think actually went and watched that event? 100,000, 200,000 over the weekend, 20,000. It wouldn't be the kind of people that can be reached in other mediums, other platforms, anywhere near the numbers that are being reached every day by golf YouTubers, by the Golf Channel and its platforms, by platforms simply like the BBC. There are surely better platforms if we want to expose golf to bigger numbers. Ian Whitcomb saying the format isn't the issue, it's the accessibility. I'd argue the event got low viewing figures. We have enough 72-hole stroke play events. It's nice to break it up, Jamie Peters. Yeah, absolutely agree. That shirt reminds me of Rory Skyborn, the driver. What do you think about Golf 6 viewing adopting by English Golf Union? What do you think about Golf 6s being adopted by English Golf Union? Yeah, I mean, whatever gets people playing is not a bad thing. Is this the same reaction people had when 2020 cricket came about? I hate it, by the way. Prefer much more the longer form. Sergio Piers, absolutely. I don't know. The cricket, it's based on that kind of cricket format, isn't it? I live 5 miles away. Did I boof? No, I live 5 miles away. I think it's meant to say, did I go, Nigel Plain, now you say? Let's go back into Twitter, see what they're saying. Anything else? I didn't know that. Sure, let's see what else anyone else is saying. Nice to see the women playing with the men. Those kind of ideas. It's the same, really. It's the same kind of reflection. So when it comes to the women playing with the men, I think it's fantastic that the Ladies European Tour gets a stronger platform to show its fantastic players, which it has. From top to bottom, you've seen us playing with Sophie Walker. She's a fantastic player. To Whitney Hillier, to others. We've done stuff with Charlie Hull. She's fantastic talent. We did some filming with Georgie as well out in Dubai for their event. Amazing, competitive player, and obviously having a fantastic year. I think that's one of the most the strongest aspects to what it's trying to show. The thing that upsets me a little bit is, why do we have to show that fantastic tour in a slightly watered down, dumbed down, for want of a better word, I don't mean that disrespectfully, version of what they actually can bring? That's what I think is a real shame. I think it's a shame, and I agree with one of the comments earlier, golf trying to be cool, where possibly it's ending up just looking at itself and realising there's loads of holes. Because if we dig a little deeper, some of the things that people were posting on Twitter, which I kind of agree with, which concern me, so it's being played, I think, at Centurion, and we're talking about an uber exclusive golf club, like massively exclusive golf club, which isn't accessible to many people, which in my mind shows the massive contradictions that golf constantly struggles with, and then in turn, I think, publicly shows itself up with, without really thinking it through. And golf is kind of famous for this. Like, it's done it a lot of times and still continues to do it. So, you know, you're playing this all-inclusive, really kind of, oh, look, it's great for the kids, let's all get all the kids there event at a course which has got no interest in those kind of ideas for generalized people playing. That to me is such a strange message, and I'm not sure why they want to do that for that event. That event, in my opinion, could be held at much more accessible venues, which would make it stand up morally a bit more on its 2 feet when it's trying to promote these new ideas of golf. Now, I understand the complexities of putting on European Tour events. I worked quite closely, I spoke quite closely with Close House owner when we did a bit of filming to try and promote the British Masters with Lee before the British Masters last year. And he was telling me the things, the rings, the loops that they were having to jump through, the money they were having to spend to make sure that event got there and was put on. So I understand the complexities, and probably there's lots of courses would not even be close to being able to handle taking that event. I just think it screams contradiction, and golf, which has this kind of continuously contradictory kind of way about itself. It wants to be all-inclusive, yet it struggles to be all-inclusive, because as soon as it is, people moan, slow play, poor etiquette. You know, it trips up whenever it does try to get inclusive, or kind of all-inclusive. And I think this kind of shows that a little bit. Not to take away from any of the players or any of the kind of entertainment. And I mean, for me, the strongest thing from it was the men and the women's synergy, and I would love to see more of that from similar teams playing similar competitions or playing in teams. I think that has massive strength of growing, but it's going to be the European Tour's drive, because I know the ladies' European Tour would be all over any kind. I mean, they're looking for as much exposure as they can get. Okay, most PGA Tour events are on private members only golf courses. That's not spreading the game or the money either. Justin Sleeping 61, good point. Does the new golf handicap system actually encourage people to start playing, or does it alienate golfers who already lower handicaps? Not sure. The likes of Sky are slowly but surely dismantling the traditionalism of our sport in general. Money and bloody advertising. I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't agree with that, but there's parts of it I would agree with. It showed us disparity in prize money when the ladies won almost as much for reaching the quarterfinals at winning an LET event. That's embarrassing. Again, it just shows the contradictions in golf, but there is business involved in that, because the ladies' European Tour does not get the financial sponsorship stroke backing, obviously, that the men's tour gets for eyeballs and stars created. That's a very complex one. I found it boring. Brian. Mark with the journey. Why don't you do a match play at the end of the journey to see if the games in real game event? That's a good idea. We might do something like that with the journey. Plenty of journey coming at you this month. We've already seen Aiden's second That's an after his cut, and we're going to see the other 4 as well. From what I watched, it seemed like they're just trying to show kids the list of. Couldn't be wrong, can't read that. You've not really spelled that right. Good to see the kids, but the format was more than a bit confusing. Love the channel, Tim, thank you. We used to have free tour challenge during the Thanksgiving pre-taped, and it was fun to watch, and the women won many of those events. Lockie Army from Scott. Do you think that golf is a natural, or do you think it is a talent that is earned? I think it's a talent that is earned with a bit of natural in there as well. Post comments down below. Let me know what you think of Golf Sixes. I'd be really interested there. I think the biggest problem is lots of you don't really have that big of an opinion about it, because it obviously didn't quite maybe dial in to as many people as they were hoping it would. And again, will it change numbers? If it changed numbers of participation, those kind of ideas, then that's a great thing. Should we have a little putt before we finish? How many people out of 3? This is bigger than Golf 6, isn't it? Me putting in my putting office on my southwest screen. How many out of 3? Let's hear. I want to hear those comments on Golf 6s. Really interested to know what you thought about it. So the big comments I want to know. Would you like to see more male-female tournaments where it is more, we're seeing both sides of the brilliant tours and the brilliant players? Oh, it's all free. It's all free, everyone. Who said 3? Come on. Where are you? How many of you said 3? I want to see it. There you go. There's one. Jan said 3. Well done, Jan. Correct. So main comments I want to hear from you in that comment section down below. Remember to hit the thumbs up button if you're liking the vlogs. It's just a bit of an impromptu one because I saw lots of things flying around about Golf 6s. And I wanted just to put something out there to get your opinion on it. Waste of time, June 247. I mean, the other big thing with anything in golf, and I've experienced this a lot, is that people do not like change. So when I first started doing daily vlogs, people are like, oh, just stick to it in balls in your bay. People didn't like change, where now it's just kind of much more, well, loads of people are doing it. I see in the golf community, and it's a bit more to see a golf pro not stacked in the golf clothes, just kind of saying it, do lag and get on plane and all that rubbish. Seems to be becoming a bit more of the norm, which is great to see. So golf will struggle because it's a traditional sport and it hates change. Like, it hates it. So those kind of comments, I'm never sure what waste of time. Like, I don't think it's a waste of time, because you can't say getting those 2 tours together is in any way a waste of time. It's a fantastic chance to see, for the business heads who are running those tours, if those 2 products can work, if they appeal, if you watch, if you engage. And I think the standout English women's pair really started to kind of engage and get some traction going online. So it's only fantastic for golf as a whole, which needs to become a stronger women's and men's synergy of a game rather than a separation. Here we go, here's another one. Gareth said, think it's good, need a bit more to it long term, something I'd love to play in at club level. And that's quite an interesting point. So Gareth's seeing how it would reflect to him on club level. Also, I would like to see bringing combat golf. How about live broadcasts from on course, Marcus? Yeah, that would be very challenging to actually commit to. So post comments down below. I want to know your ideas on the 2 tools coming together like that. Would you like to see more of it? I absolutely would. Also, I would like you to post down comments down below on the ideas of the venue that they're using for an event that's meant to be all-encompassing. And the counter argument to that is lots of tour events are played on very private courses. I mean, there's a major, Augusta, and then the Open is played on relatively private courses, but you can get on them, and they do have big programs, lots of them around coaching and kids and those kind of ideas. And US Open is played on public courses a lot of the time. They've used public courses that I've played Torrey Pines, and I played with a resident of San Diego who shows me his residence. I can play Torrey Pines card for a ridiculously cheap amount because he's a local resident. So absolutely, I want to hear more about that. There's contradictions in that, obviously, for both levels. But for me, an event that's trying to be getting kids away from foam hands and let's just take loads of shots of emotive kids on our telly screens because we know that you'll lap up and say the word growing the game and the TV kind of companies will then be able to pretend they're doing great things. I think it's a shame that such a great event maybe is exposed to such small numbers. And obviously, when you got those two tours, I want to see him exposed to as many people as possible. Post in that comment section down below. It's bank holiday. Have a good Monday off if you're in the UK and you're having a bank holiday weekend. It's going to be sunny. I'm just going to spend it with the family tomorrow. Can't wait. Thanks all for watching. I can't wait to read those comments.